What's up everybody, I am Brandon, and we got a buttload of Super Mario RPG news to talk about today. So recently over on MinnMax, the co-director of Super Mario RPG was talking about how he'd love to do a sequel to the original game. So not only are we going to go through those Super Mario RPG sequel details, but I'm also going to give you guys the lowdown on what Super Mario RPG is, where it came from, and why it's one of the best RPGs ever made. We got all that and more on another episode of Game Corner. Thanks for watching everybody. If you like what I do, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and I'll stop wasting your time. So like I said, the co-director of Super Mario RPG, Chihiro Fujioka, he was doing an interview over at MinnMax and kind of talking about how he would love to do a sequel to Super Mario RPG. He actually said this in the interview. So in my career, I've been involved in a lot of games, and you know, I would really like my final one to be another Mario RPG game. I think Mario and Luigi is cool, but I would like to go back and create a Mario RPG where you're only controlling Mario. As you guys may know, Chihiro Fujioka is actually one of the guys behind Alpha Dream and also the Mario and Luigi series, which is kind of like a spiritual successor to the original Super Mario RPG. He also made a little cult classic game, Tomato Adventure, which is also sort of a spiritual successor to the series, and something I'd very much like to play when I get my hands on that analog pocket. Anyway, I definitely recommend checking out the whole interview if you kind of want to get more nitty and gritty with, you know, his feelings around Super Mario RPG and the other games he's made. So unfortunately, he didn't have much else to say about a sequel, and when asked about any like script or story ideas, he really evaded the question, saying that it was a secret. But even the co-director making a mere passing mention of this and saying that he has ideas for a script is pretty interesting. Obviously, this is all just speculation at this point, and this is, you know, not even in development or even anywhere near that as of right now, or at least as far as we know. But obviously him talking about this is going to kind of start getting that rumor mill going and getting people talking about that game and why they miss it and they love it, and, you know, who knows? We've definitely seen crazier things happen, and especially with Nintendo seemingly open to putting Mario into other games again, like Mario Strikers and Mario plus Rabbids. I could definitely see this being something they might be interested in doing again. It has been quite a while since we've had a new Mario and Luigi game, and the most recent Paper Mario games have been doing kind of so-so review-wise. So who knows, maybe Nintendo would be up to kind of doing a new spin on the series there. So since I'm talking about this, I'm sure a lot of you have been seeing this story circulating around the net, and some of you might be wondering, what the fuck is Super Mario RPG? So Super Mario RPG is a Super Nintendo game that came out way back in 1996. It's an asymmetrical, turn-based RPG that has a lot of action and platforming elements to it. It was published by Nintendo and actually developed by Square, who you might know as Squaresoft or Square Enix nowadays. So for the uninitiated, this is basically Final Fantasy, but in the Mushroom Kingdom. And if that doesn't send alarms off in your head screaming, that sounds like one of the coolest things I've ever heard of, then you really should just give it a shot for yourself, because it is an absolute classic. So back in the day, this game was actually pretty popular. It sold about 1.5 million copies over in Japan, and it's actually listed as the 19th most sold Super Nintendo game of all time at about 2.3 million copies. So we can assume that it sold just over 500,000 in the US. And even though it was critically acclaimed and sold really well, it's kind of an underrated gem nowadays. And I think that's partially due because it's kind of hard to play at a reasonable price or on any platform that isn't emulated. An original Super Nintendo cartridge is going to cost you upwards of $150, and the only other ways to play it is to either own it on the Wii Virtual Console, own it on the Wii U Virtual Console, or have bought a Super Nintendo Classic. And seeing as how the Super Nintendo Classic is also a collector's item at this point, it'll run you $100 or so. The Wii U Virtual Console is totally shut down, so unless you already own that game, you're shit out of luck there. And the Wii U Virtual Console is just about to shut down in the next year. So without any other way to play this, you're kind of either stuck to doing emulation or, you know, just not playing it at all. Which is seriously unfortunate because, once again, it's Final Fantasy in the Mushroom Kingdom. It really is as cool as it sounds, I promise you. It's definitely been picking up a little bit more mainstream praise as people are kind of remembering how awesome it was and being able to emulate it really easy on their PCs. But I definitely think it's still a far cry from the popularity that it used to have. So unlike a lot of normal Square RPGs, in the overworld you actually have full control of Mario. You can even jump around and there's secrets to find and boxes to hit, and battles are only initiated if Mario runs into an enemy, so you can kind of dodge around battles if you don't don't really need to get into that battle, or you're kind of low on health and stuff like that. And when you do get into a battle, there's this whole action command system where if you time your button presses right, you can either do more damage or you can take less damage. And I actually love how you use each button on the controller to actually select each command, like items and defend, etc. It really is super unique, especially for its time, and I really feel like it's a game that just hasn't been fully captured since then. Stuff like Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga have gotten really close, and they do a lot of really similar stuff, but it just didn't have that same charm in my eyes. Those are absolutely fantastic games too. I mean, the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga games were also made by Fujioka, so I have no complaints there. While its action combat system and the whole game in general isn't exactly a deep RPG, it's insanely engaging and addictive to kind of go in there and try and score those hits or those misses. Not to mention the cast of characters is absolutely fantastic. You even get to have Bowser and Peach on your team, which is really neat. They actually refer to Peach as Princess Toadstool in this game. And even though one of the custom characters, Mallow, is kinda lame, the other one totally makes up for it. Gino is such a badass, and I'm surprised we haven't really seen him show up since. There is a Mii costume of him in Super Smash Bros., but once again, not enough love where it's due here. Gino is such a badass. The music also kicks ass, and there's this secret boss at the end named Colex, and he is straight ripped out of Final Fantasy. His whole backstory is literally coming from another dimension to fight the people in the Mushroom Kingdom. It's just really cool. You totally got to see it for yourself. I'm really hoping that they end up putting this game on the Virtual Console at some point, and once again, crossing our fingers for maybe a sequel. I could see that being really neat with kind of where they've taken Mario as of recently with stuff like Bowser's Fury. Full-blown 3D, beautiful Nintendo game, but you get all that awesome action RPG and quirkiness that you'd get from the classic Super Mario RPG game. Anyway, unfortunately, that's about all the news I have when it comes to Super Mario RPG 2, and we kind of went through all the basics on what Super Mario RPG is and why you should absolutely play it. It is genuinely one of the best RPGs of all time. We've kind of taken to talking about, really classic RPGs on this channel, and I felt like this is one that was duly needed. Anyway, I'm Brandon. This was the Game Corner episode on Super Mario RPG. Thanks for watching, and have a kick-ass week.